Wow, what a moment, a historical moment to be seated with a great cricketer.
Thanks.
Awesome and incredible individual from the Eastern Cape, Dave Callaghan.
Thanks.
You've got a middle name, John, eh?
David John Callaghan.
David John Callaghan. Who gave you the name John?
It's a family name. Yeah, it comes from I think
way back.
Yeah, my father was Michael John. I was David John. So it's a sort of continued with the family.
With the family.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. How's life been?
Yeah, it's been good. I've had a few health challenges over the last 3 years or so.
Yeah.
But at the moment, I'm able to cope with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we've obviously made a few changes in my life. I live out at St. Francis now on the river, and I'm not working in the corporate world anymore. I'm working with my wife, Sharon. She's got an embroidery business in town. So we come into town still. I mean, we still love Port Elizabeth. We still love the Eastern Cape. But we had to make, obviously, a choice, So when I finished work, I couldn't afford to have two homes. So we had to make a choice, yeah.
Yes. By the way, happy belated birthday.
Thank you very much.
I believe you are a January boy.
Yeah,
and you turn 60.
1st of
February,
yeah.
yes. You turn 60.
60.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, we all turn 60 at some stage.
At some stage, 60 will come.
Yeah,
Although always looked at our parents, Dad is 60, as if, it never come to you.
Well, I mean, we don't feel any older, do we?
No.
And I mean, let's face it, we think of when you were 20 or 30 and then you looked at your parents and they were ancient. So I always look at my daughter and I look at my son and I think they're thinking must be in my 70s, 80s. I'm old, Yeah, we used to call them bullets in our day.
Their days are coming.
Yeah,
they'll be 60 also very soon.
No, definitely, yeah.
Dave, you're one of those, revered sons of the Eastern Cape and South Africa, cricket-wise.
Thank you.
And you have done so much for the sport itself. And you have traveled far and wide. And everybody knows about you. Who is Dave Callaghan?
Yeah, look, I think who I am, I think it's quite a tough question. I think I've always tried to be, the person, well, put it this way, when I was playing cricket, I was always wanting to be the entertainer, the person that, enjoyed living here. I tried to live away from Port Elizabeth for 3 years, came back with my tail between the legs. I love the Eastern Cape. I love this area. So when I lived here, I was always a loyal person. I mean, I played for this province for 20 years. I didn't want, although I had offers to go to Northern's, Western Province, border, I had a number of offers to move away from the Eastern Cape, but I always felt this is where my family was, and this is where my support system was, where I knew people, and I like that. I like that sort of environment where I feel like, that I'm, say the word loved, but appreciated, and I've always felt appreciated in this province. So it was an easy call for me, and I think that's the way I love, love being, I just, also from, after sport, I was going to say after school, but after sport, my achievements a lot of the achievements that I've made after sport and that are all related back to my sporting days, where I started, and that's important. It has been important to me, Unfortunately, because I took the sporting route when I was younger, I never completed my studies at university and all that type of thing. So I had to really embrace my network around me, and that's what's happened. I've embraced it in my network, my people around me, and I've been well looked after. So I appreciate it. Those times.
Talking about you growing up, most probably born in Queenstown, Ekomani.
Ekomani,
yeah. Usakhumbula Ekomani?
Hayi,
Akufuna ukuya. Akuyazi noba uhlala phi pha.
Ndiyafuna uhlala apha ngoku.
Your father, a teacher, your mother, a teacher. What kind of home environment was that? You were definitely under tremendous pressure.
Yeah, no, I think we were all
to succeed.
Well, put it this way, I think we were more under pressure just to finish my homework, you know what I mean? Yeah, it was tough.
Home
environment.
Yeah,
we lived in, when we eventually moved to Port Elizabeth, we lived just below the police station there in Glendinning.
Yes.
And that was just, about 3-4 blocks away from the school at Grey where I was being educated. And my parents
Grey
often...
was still in the old building, not this one.
No, the one...
The one down there.
No, the Grey School at the top of the hill there.
Yes, next to Pier 14. Not that one.
No, not that one.
Or
no.
this one.
Yeah, the new one.
Yeah, I see.
And my parents lived at just below the Mount Road police station. Actually, when we were there, I remember I used to practice at Old Grey often on my own, and then walk through the police station because it was still being built in those days, and then down to where we lived. And but my parents used to drive around often around about 6 o'clock, trying to find me if I was in the net. I was on the rugby field or the cricket nets at Grey or at Old Grey. They used to try and drive around looking for me, because that's all I loved doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
If it was winter, I kicked rugby balls and played rugby, and in summer I played cricket. Yeah, and
I believe you practiced 4 times because of your father.
Yeah,
He was such a driver.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say a slave driver, but he was such a driver.
Yeah, he was an interesting. When I say when you say a driver, he was a silent driver. He
very
never
subtle.
Very subtle ways in that. So what he used to do is take me to cricket practices with him, and he was always coaching older boys. When I was in grade 1 and 2, standard 1 and standard 2 in those days. So when he was when I was come out of school, he'd pick me and put me in the car, and we'd go up to the fields, especially when we were when I was at Queen's, and I would be practicing with older boys because they were all under 10s, under 11s, under 12s, under 13s.
Higher grades than you.
Yeah. So and there was no formal cricket in standard 1 and standard 2 at all. So I had to practice with older kids, So I just practiced, softball on a Monday and a Wednesday, for instance, and then hardball on a Tuesday and Thursday with my dad, And that's how
And then rugby?
Rugby.
In between.
Yeah, a little bit different. A little bit, yeah.
Barefooted
on the side. I mean, when my dad was a rugby ref, I remember going every Saturday to the BRU when we eventually moved to East London.
To border. Yeah.
To the border, we went to the BRU ground, and there's that grass patch in the front of the stadium.
Yes.
I mean, we used to have our own games there for 4 or 5 hours because in those days, all the First League sides used to play on the one ground every Saturday. It wasn't like now you have different
fields. Yes.
Everybody went to the BRU on a Saturday. Yeah. And then at 1 o'clock there was a game, at 2:30 was a game, at 3:30 there was a game.
4 o'clock one.
Yeah.
The
so main match for the day.
Match at 4.
So I just ended up playing rugby along that all day and every day, and then in the evenings we used to play in the car park. So I was brought up in that environment. In that environment, yeah.
You have such a unique individual that went to, I think, 4 schools. You went to Queen's. Queen's is in Queenstown, where you were born. Went to Dale, went to Selborne, and ultimately went to Grey.
Yeah, very different. As I said, my dad was a teacher, so I started off at Dale for 18 months.
Yes.
And my parents at that stage weren't teaching at Dale or in King. So they were living in Stutterheim.
I see.
And
outside,
so my dad sent me to boarding school, and I cried every day. I hated it. I was too young to go to boarding. Oh no,
young and lonely.
Yeah, no. I didn't like boarding school. So when my parents moved to Queenstown, and my dad was a teacher at Queen's, I then moved with him to Queen's, and then 2 years or so he moved to Selborne in East London. So I moved with him to East London, and then towards the end of my junior school career, we moved to Port Elizabeth. Yes. And that's a whole story. In those days, to go to Grey, you had to live in the area. You know,
Yes.
you couldn't live out the area. And my parents lived out here in a place called Miramar. I remember I wasn't accepted at the school to start off with. And then I made the EP school's cricket team and rugby team and everything. And then suddenly I was
want him
at the school, yeah. So, but yeah, it was, you know, it was just one of those things.
It's an amazing journey, you know, having parents being your mentors, your drivers, and also your guides, playing the major part in your development of your sport.
Yeah, and also, I mean, you learn from them. You know, like I remember one incident that I had when I was playing first team rugby at Grey, and my dad was never one that used to tell me a lot, what to do. He sort of advised and that type of thing. And I remember the one day I had a shocker. I mean, I had a bad game.
Played badly.
He
was angry.
No, he wasn't angry at all. You know, he just sort of like said to me, well, put it this way, I was just trying to be an ace kid, you know. I wanted to do everything. I was playing centre. I wanted to take every gap, and I wanted to do this, and I wanted to do that. And I remember I walked into the change room afterwards, and my coach at that stage was a guy by the name of Clive Barker, Mr. Clive Barker. And he didn't say anything to me, and nobody actually congratulated me. And for, you know, we won, but I had a poor game, and nobody said anything to me. And you know, I needed that sort of reassurance, and I didn't get it from anyone, you know. And then that evening, sitting having supper at home, I remember saying to my dad, "Dad, you know, how did I play, you know?" Because, I mean, nobody said anything to me, you know, like...
Did you score?
No, I didn't score, no. And I said...
But you had a shocker.
I had a shocker, yeah. And I remember him saying, okay, let me just tell you what I thought of today. And he started, and the first thing I said to him, but Dad, you know, and then he looked at me, and then a couple of minutes later, he sort of went on to something, and I said, but Dad, he said, listen here, my boy, don't you butt me. I'm telling you, you asked for some help, and that's how it's going to, so you take my advice. Otherwise, let's just leave it. And
leave it.
Yeah, you know, and it taught me a lesson that, you know, some stages in your life you just have to listen.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Listening is a skill.
And and that's how it turned out, you know. And, you know, he was very involved with his own refereeing. So it was a little bit, he never watched every game. My mom only came to watch me because she didn't want me to get injured, or wanted to see if I would get injured. She hated rugby.
Is it?
No, she wasn't a rugby. We arrived here in PE.
Is it you, your mom, and your siblings?
Yeah, so it was...
you didn't have a brother?
No, I had my brother, late brother, and a late sister. And then myself, I was the oldest, and then my mom and dad, And I remember my mom, the first game that we ever went to watch here was Old Collegians versus Swifts.
Oh, yes.
Those were big
clubs.
In Utenay, And there was so much abuse going there on the side of the ground. And I think my dad got hit over the head with an umbrella as he was running into the tunnel. And my mom decided that she would never go and watch another club rugby game. So it's
it was too violent.
She's too violent. She says the only club rugby game she's going to watch is only rugby she's going to watch is me playing at the school. Or otherwise she'll go to the Boetie Erasmus and watch a game. Otherwise she's not watching any more rugby. She's terrible.
Chaos.
Oh, it was chaos.
There's a lot of swearing and all that stuff.
And what happened was my dad parked on this side of the field and then took his bag and walked across the field into the change room on the other side of the ground. So obviously all the people parked on this side knew that this was the referee's wife and son, you know, sitting here. And they just, when things weren't going their way, they just started throwing abuse at mom and my mom and I, and it didn't go down well. No.
Referees were not safe. Those days, there was always this allegation that referees are robbing us. You know, cheat. You're a big cheat.
And as my dad ran through the tunnel, some woman leant over and hit him on the top of the head with an umbrella. So that was it.
So your mom said no more.
No more rugby. No. And then
stay with school's rugby.
She only went to watch me when I played for EP a few games. She only went to watch me. She just wanted me to get injured. So.
Hey, Dave, you were in PE now, settling after high school, and then there was a choice of you continue with your rugby career, or you stay at the university.
Yeah. So it was actually a funny one, because in those days, when you played rugby, you used to get, when I played for Dispatch and played for EP Rugby, we used to get, I think it was 300 or 400 rand in a brown paper packet, after the
match.
game. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Wow.
The man used to walk around and sort of give you some money, and you used to put it away.
So a stipend.
A little stipend for that.
Yeah.
And rugby was an amateur sport.
It was.
But when I played EP cricket, it was a professional sport, and I only got 100 rand for a whole day.
Standing there,
the whole day. $100.
But rugby, 300 and something.
And I used to get taxed on that 100 rand,
Wow.
So rugby became an attraction.
Yes.
Because I wanted to play sport as a profession.
Yes.
I didn't want to go and work. I wasn't So rugby was really at the top at that stage. And what happened was...
And Dispatch was a powerful outfit.
Yeah, and I mean, we used to win more games than we lost.
Yes.
And I knew, look, a few years ago, I stood next to Jean de Villiers and a couple of those, Skalkberger, and I mean, he's small, and a couple of those guys, and I thank heavens I don't play rugby now, you know what I mean? I would have been a scrum off now, I'm sort of... But I was a bit slight.
Yes.
But then we were fortunate, because in those days we had Fafner Kutzer, Hans Skriver. Those are sort of rugby players that were playing.
The human brothers, Pote.
Yeah, and they were small guys, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then obviously playing for Dispatch, we had a pretty big side.
Big forwards.
Seth Human, Dirk Nodier.
Yes.
We had Koenie Strumpfer as hooker, Donnie Gerber, Kali Grobler.
Anton Barnard?
Anton played for Parks.
Erasmus?
No, Parks.
He played for Parks Erasmus, not Dispatch. Yeah.
So we had a very, very good side. Maynard Leroux, so Nicky White. So we had a really good side. Yeah. And we were winning. We were earning.
And Peter Zemke?
Sorry?
Peter Zemke. You remember the wing?
No, he was before my time.
Before your time, yes.
So we had a really good side, and I was playing rugby. I was playing good rugby, and I actually Nelly Smith, who was the coach of the Springboks, or the I don't know if they call them Springboks, but the sort of rebel sides in those days. He wanted to take myself, Marius Swart and Stain Swart to Italy to go and play rugby over there.
Wow!
And I was quite keen to go and see different places. I'd already been to play cricket at Sussex in England, but rugby was, because of the money, was sort of quite an attraction. And then Kepler Wessels arrived.
Here?
Yeah.
In Poland, from Australia?
Yeah, he came back here. And EP Rugby got him involved as a sort of a mentor for them from a mental side. We hooked up quite well together as friends, and he one day came to me and he said to me, Dave, I actually want you to play cricket. You know what I mean? So I said to him, look here, Kepler, my problem is that I'm getting 400 rand a game every and I'm only getting 100 rand.
Money?
Yeah. I'm only getting 100 rand in that's name.
For cricket, for the whole day.
For a whole day. And on top of that, I'm not guaranteed of my spot anymore in the EP side, because I'd been to the army and come back, and I was sort of like playing in the one-day team, in the Nissan Shield and the Benson Hedges. I wasn't playing in the 4-day competition at that stage on a regular basis. And rugby, I was EP Rugby, Dispatch, things were going well.
To there.
And then he said to me, look here, next year is going to be different. I want you to play. We're going to give everyone proper contracts next season. You're not going to get paid per day. It'll be a contract for the season. We're going to copy the sort of Aussie style, sort of setup. And David Trist had arrived from New Zealand as our coach. And so I said, well, that's fine, but then can I carry on playing rugby in the winter? They said, look here, if you sign a contract, no, you're going to, you
You'll
might
get injured. You'll get injured. And
exactly.
There'll be
So I said, well, what am I going to
consequences,
do in the winter then? So he said, well, look here, I'll speak to Clive Rice, and maybe what you can do is go overseas again, which he did. He went and he phoned Clive Rice, and Clive Rice said, look here, I'm actually just finishing off at Nottinghamshire in England, and I'll speak to the cricket director there, which he did. And a couple of weeks later, I was on the plane, and I flew off to the UK to play for Nottinghamshire for a season.
Wow.
I was always the number 2 there, unfortunately, because Franklin Stevenson was the number 1 pro, and he
big fellow from the West Indies.
Yeah, we shared a house together. It was
Yeah,
magnificent. We shared a house with him and Chris Cairns and myself. The three of us had a house in Melton Mowbray, just outside Nottinghamshire. And I learned a lot, and that was where the whole cricket thing started, really. If I want to,
There was money involved.
Yeah, and also, I mean,
and an opening of an opportunity and a career.
Yeah,
yes,
especially with a guy like Kepler. Yeah,
basically Kepler's presence, because he came with professionalism. Kepler, when he came here, and also physical fitness. I remember he introduced boxing to you guys.
Yeah, we boxed each other, stickant, or we did all stupid things. I think about it now. I mean, some guys were always weaker than us. I remember Flam Mecho hitting A.D. Burrell so hard he flew over the couch in his house. We were all the guys lived in a place down the road from here called Ross Trevor.
Yeah,
down the way. Yeah. And one afternoon we were all sitting there joking around, and the guys put the boxing gloves on, and they were boxing each other. And A.D. Burrell was a slight man,
but a little bit tallish.
Slight, and Flum hit him, went right over the couch. put pay to the boxing. Yeah, no. So we had lots of times, good times together.
Let's go back to your stint in England. You arrive in England. Just give us a little bit of copy taste on Ghulam, when you met Ghulam.
Oh, Ghulam. Yeah, that was, so I did the Nottinghamshire year.
Yes.
And they wanted me to sign on as a local player, which meant I would have had to stay in the UK do what Alan Lamb and all the, Graham Hick and all those guys do. I would have to stay there for 5 years before or 6 years or whatever it was. So I was already 22, I think it was, 21, 22. So I would have only been available to play as a local player in England when I was 26, 27. And, as I said,
stay 5 years. Or
yeah, so Kepler arrived and all that type of thing, and the cricket here was good and professional and that. So I opted not to go for that, as become a local, if you want to call it that, jump ship. So my only other option was to go and play what they call Lancashire League cricket in the leagues. I got picked up by a club called Rochdale, and I arrived there. I was doing what they call a sub-proing job in '89. At the end of that season, Mike Valletta, an Australian opening batsman, his father-in-law had passed away, and he had to fly home. So they asked me if I would come and fill in for him, which I did. And that's a whole story as well. So I arrived there, and it's raining, and it's really cold.
Raining
and the wickets are different there. They're like soft and wet, and I just come off scoring 200s in one day against Lancashire at Old Trafford in the second team for Notts. So I got 100 in the morning, and then we followed on, and I got another 100 in the afternoon. And on top of that, I spent an hour in hospital having stitches in my head when I got hit by a guy by the name of Craig Matthews, who the Aussie Craig Matthews, left arm quick bowler, and he hit me on the back of the head and I had to rush off to the hospital and had stitches, and then came back and carried on batting, got another 100. And there was a club member sitting on the grandstand, and he went back to his club, Rochdale, and he said, "Listen, I've just witnessed something today. I've never seen this before. A guy got 100 in the morning and 100 in the afternoon. Following on. And so the club phoned me up, and there was a Zimbabwean guy by the name of Nigel Skilling. He phoned me up and he said, "Listen, Dave, I'm at this club. Would you like to come and pray for us? And I said, yeah, sure. And so I went up there, and so the expectations were there. I was going to score runs, you know what I mean? So I arrived at the ground, and yeah, it was wet. It was terrible.
Raining.
Then the ground was probably one of the worst grounds in a place called Royton. It's one of the worst grounds in the Lancashire League. And then I went out, and second ball, I got caught at gully.
What happened to the hundreds?
No, yeah, exactly.
Run dry.
Yeah. So now I'm walking off the field, and there's this guy standing at the top of the field there, at the top of the stadium grandstand, shouting at me, "You useless man! You useless man!" You know, like. And I thought to myself, what have I come to? You know, this is crazy. You know.
Heckled.
Yeah, getting heckled. And anyway, so now we go out to field, and we've got about 140, and we go out to field, and I don't open the bowling, and I can't understand. And there's this guy running in from the one side, bowling little dibbly-dobblies, slower than me.
Your medium paces.
Yeah, a little bit slower than mine.
Okay.
And I got an off-spinner from the other side. He was a captain, bowling off-spinners from the other side. And eventually I went up to this guy and I said to him, listen, you know what, I can bowl.
Yeah, give me the ball.
Give me the ball.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and he carried on. Eventually at drinks, they were about 70 odd for one or whatever, 70 odd for two, chasing 140. They needed 70, plenty of overs in the bank. And eventually at drinks, I said to him, Keith, give me the ball.
Yes.
And he looked at the ball like this, and he did this, and he threw it, and it hit me on the chest here like this. He says, well, you can't effing bat. So you see what you can do with the ball.
With the ball.
So anyway, I took 5 for 12.
Wow, wow.
And we won the game. Okay,
wow.
yeah. So we won the game. And then I missed my lift back to Nottinghamshire because I had to go back there, and he owned a curry house in town. So we went for curry, and we went to the club and all that type of thing. And then they put a piece of paper in front of me, and they said, listen here. Contract for the next 5 years, you know. Yes. In the meantime, when I was at the club, I was standing at the bar with a whole lot of my teammates and that. And one of them who looked at me and he said to me, Dave, you see that gentleman sitting over there? And I said, yeah. He says, he played for South Africa. You know, and I rubbish, man.
You says, the players.
I know everyone.
You know everyone.
Yeah, we don't know what, I mean.
You know Clive Rice, you know Kepler,
exactly.
You know all these guys.
I don't
know.
Who's
this guy?
Yeah, I don't know what happens on the other side of the town.
Yes,
You know, so, you know, we were brought up in that environment, unfortunately, you know, and anyway, and he said, oh, his brother played.
He's a black guy.
Yeah, it's a black guy, yeah. His brother played cricket for South Africa. Nah, rubbish, man. You know, like
you're joking.
You're joking. Yeah, you're actually talking rubbish. Yeah,
and you remember you guys who had your beers.
Yeah, you winding me on, like
imagining things. Yeah.
Eventually, this man came up to me, you know.
Yeah.
And he said to me, "Hello, Dave. My name's Gulam." I said, "Hello, Gulam. How are you?"
Yeah.
And he said, "I'm well, thank you." He said, "Well played today. You know, you really played well, and I'm glad to hear that you might be wanting to come back here next year and that type of thing." He said, "From now on," he says, "whenever you play on a Monday night, I want you to come to my house on a Monday night. I know what it's like to be a young South African as a professional." So now I'm thinking, oh, hang on, maybe this guy's right. You know, where does he come from? You know, he says, you know, a young professional in England, bring your washing. My wife Jean will do your washing, and you can have supper with us every Monday night while she does your washing.
Yeah.
So the following year, we did that, and on the Monday, I'd go up, and then on the first Monday, I was sitting there, and I was looked on his tea table there, and he had this big book, thick book like this on multiracial sport in South Africa.
Yeah.
And I sort of paged through it, and there was a big picture of Gulam. I mean, he actually, from what I've never saw him play, so I wouldn't know. But from a lot of people that I've spoken to and that type of thing, he would be in the mold of Peterson, the guy that plays for Western Province. He was a tall, big man. Played flower off, left South Africa, went to play for a club called Bradford Northern. At the same time as Basil D'Oliveira, who actually ended up playing for Middleton, which is the club next door to Rochdale where I was, and then ended up going to play for Worcester. Dick, his brother, ended up playing for Enfield and holds many records at Enfield before he immigrated to Holland and became the convener of selectors in Holland for a number of years. But Gulam became my English father. I spoke to him. I spoke to him for his 90th birthday, probably about 2 weeks ago.
Still alive.
2 or 3 weeks. Still alive.
Happy birthday,
Very,
Gulam.
very deaf. Very tearful. But it was such a
But he remembered you.
Oh yeah. Callas, he calls me Callas. He says. And while I was at the club, I think it was the second year or the third year, they asked me to be captain. Now, being a professional at a club and being a captain is one hell of a task, because the club do expect you to. They want you to make all the runs. They want you to take most of the wickets. That you do all the coaching during the week.
Discipline.
And it's hard to be both. Put it that way. So I said, well, look, I'd love to do it, but on one condition: Gulam is my manager. He's the manager of the team, and so we approached Gulam. He just retired. He was probably 55 at that stage. So he retired from playing himself, and he said, "No, you'll do it." And there was a post on social media just the other day, where we won the league a number of times after that with him and I as the coach and the manager and the player and the captain, and so that's my. And when I finished playing professional cricket in South Africa, I happened to go to Cape Town for 3 years. I moved to Cape Town for 3 years, or Stellenbosch for 3 years, and Gulam and Jean actually came back to South Africa for those 3 years. So we spent 3 years together in that area, and we got to know each other. But we got to see each other. See each other for 3 years, and then because of health and stuff like that, they had to move back to England. So they moved back. But I mean, that whole family is just amazing. How many? I think there were 7 brothers, and I think every single one of them played either Western Province or rugby or cricket, and played for South Africa, rugby or cricket somewhere. I mean, some of the stories about driving on a Friday night all the way to PE to play Saturday and Sunday, drive all the way back on Sunday night to go back to work on Monday. I mean, this is just
that was the life then.
There's a life.
That was the life then.
There
was no luxury.
And then he said to me, "You know Gerald Majola?" I said, "Yeah, I've known Gerald." Kaya Majola. I said, "Yeah, I know Kaya." He said, "I played against him." So it was just wonderful. It was really good times.
That's an incredible story. These are some of the stories you harbor. They stay in you. You write them in your heart.
And I think you for me, as I said to you, you brought up in that environment that I was in. Unfortunately, I didn't know what was going on. You know what I mean? So to hear it from a man who's done it and spent time with him and telling you all. I mean, go to Kenya, go to all those places by train, and to get there just to play a game of rugby or a game of cricket for 40 minutes or for a day, and then drive back. You must love the sport. So, and it was so nice to hear. It was just so nice to get to know him. You know what I mean? And it made me appreciate how I was brought up, and the facilities that I played on and what was given to me, you know what I mean? So, but it was good time.
Your highest, would put it that way, your highest, I think, milestone, wielding the willow at Centurion. Can you tell us about that match?
Yeah, it was sort of, 94, end of 94, going into 95. I'd been in the setup for about 3 years. I'd played 27 games at that stage. And playing cricket, it was different, So the way an innings was constructed would be the openers would go and they would get 35 or 40 off the first 10 overs, and that would be a good start. And then the middle order batsmen would come in, and then they would pick up the run rate a little bit, and then it would be left to myself and Caper and Rindle and whoever it is to come and bash a quick 50 at the end to score.
Make up the score.
Make up the score, and that's how it was. So, and it was difficult, very difficult to get big scores in that. When I was playing for
Centurion, not a big field.
No, not a big field.
It's not a big field, yeah.
And I was playing for EP, and I was batting at 4, and I'd get lots of opportunities. So playing for South Africa, I wasn't getting the opportunities that I wanted. Batting at 5 or 6 and that type of low order. And eventually, after 27 odd games, scored a couple of 50s. Been on tour to New Zealand, to Australia, to India, on 3 tours locally. I was getting a bit frustrated. And before the game, Hansie Cronje came to me and he said to me, Dave...
he was the captain then.
He was the captain, yeah. He'd just taken over from Kepler Wessel.
Yes.
And he said to me, would you like to open tomorrow? And I said, what are you to lose? You know what I mean? So I said, no, I'd love to open.
Golden opportunity.
Yeah, opportunity.
Show my potential. Yeah.
So the next day I went out to open, and it's all history, 169 later, off 141 balls, which is, and at that stage was a world... funny, I'll tell you this now, this is how the game has changed. So at that stage it was the second highest 50 over score. Sure. It was the third or the fourth highest one-day score, because one-day cricket used to be played over 60 overs.
Yes.
In the Gillette Cup, I think it used to be called in the UK.
Gillette,
in the UK.
In the UK, yeah.
So it used to be. So Glenn Turner and Vivian Richards had scored more than that, or more than 169. I can't remember the exact one. 180. No, he wasn't on the scene as such yet.
Yes.
He was in the West Indies side, but he hadn't gone into his run spree yet. And then I think there was Capital Dev, I think, was the next one. All right. In the 50 overs game, I think in 1983 in the World Cup final. And here comes Dave Callaghan at 169 at fourth position. Okay.
Sure.
So it was like big in those days,
Yes.
More than run a ball, strike rate of 120, which in those days was like sort of unheard of in a way, unless you were at the end of the innings. But to put it into perspective now, if you go and look in the records, I think it's about number 60 in the records now. The game has changed so much, you know what I mean?
Is it the willow?
Yeah.
Or is it the ball? Or is it, what is it? What's the influence?
Definitely the ball has got something to do with it. I mean, the bat's got something to do with it. The bats are much thicker. Thicker. I think they've reduced the fields a little bit to make it more look spectacular. Some of the fields are made a bit smaller. But I think also we must give credit to the players. The players are a lot more fitter and
level
stronger.
Of fitness.
Yeah, we practiced at 6 o'clock in the morning for gym, then went to work all day. We used to pitch up at St. George's at lunchtime, throw balls to each other for an hour, have a shower. Then some of the guys used to go back to work for 3 hours, 4 hours, come back at 5 o'clock and have practices. So we never really had the time the youngsters do today. They get up in the morning.
It's full time now. It's full time.
It's full time.
It's a career.
They do gym work. I mean, a few of us were fit. Kepler's team was fit, obviously, but not as scientific as they are now. So the boys are stronger than I would guess, and they got bigger bats. The balls are good. So, it's just a combination of all those just make the scores go much higher, And let's not forget the pitches these days are they're like roads, there's concrete strips. We had pitches that had a little bit of grass on. The ball used to nip around a little bit, so you used to have to work harder for your runs.
Tailor-made for the local team.
Yeah, well, whoever. I mean, when people used to come to St. George's, we used to have
slow pitches.
Yeah, we have 2 quicks.
Yeah.
Thomas, Baptiste, or McCurdy.
Yes.
And Schulz and
Schulz,
Bryson.
Brett Schulz.
Yeah, those are sort of the guys that we had. And then we used to back it with Larry Hobson, Tim Shaw, and then I used to bowl a few medium paces.
Yeah.
And that was our lineup, you know. And guys used to get frustrated playing here. And then when we used to go to Pretoria or to Cape Town, we'd swing a little bit, or Durban, and we used to include another seam bowler, you know.
Snake pitches
And then they used to
the Wanderers.
They used to doctor it the way they wanted to. Yeah. So, but now it just seems to be a road. Wherever you go, it just looks like a road, you know. So it produces big scores.
Yeah.
And that's
so
why
they keep on breaking the records now.
Yeah, I don't know.
No wonder you are at 60.
Yeah, 60, I reckon. No. So I don't even feature on the board anymore, on the first page anymore. So.
But there was another record breaker, Philip M. batting for 11 hours.
Yeah, that was in the Currie Cup final.
Yes, against Transvaal.
Against Transvaal, yeah, at St. George's.
At St. George's, for 11 hours.
11 hours.
241 runs.
You're actually bringing me to another story now.
Yes.
That one is. So I watched Philip M. bat for 11 hours. I watched Kenny McCune got 141 in that game.
Yes.
And I watched these guys bat. And eventually what happened was, after must have been 6, 7, 8 hours, 9 hours of watching these guys bat, and I was going to be, I think Kepler went in. Mark Rushmere didn't score any runs.
Mark Rushmere opened with Philip M.
Yeah, but he didn't make any runs.
Okay.
Then Kepler went in. No, sorry. Kepler went in. He didn't make too many. Kenny McCune made quite a big partnership, and I was the next player in. And after watching this for 7 hours, you get tired. Mentally, you get tired, you know. So Kepler came to me and he said to me, Dave, I think you should take your pads off, have a break.
Yes.
You know, get away from the heat.
You want to have a long one.
Yeah, you know what, just get away. So I said, no problem. So I go into the change room, take off my pads. I'm busy having a shower and getting myself freshed up where the wicket falls. Kenny McCune gets out.
Yes.
So Flamicho goes into bat.
Yeah.
Okay, he was behind me, which meant I had to pad up again. And guess what?
After refreshing.
Then Flum goes and gets, I think, 80 odd in that innings, 79, I think it was. So I had to watch him bat and Philip and bat again. Eventually, when I got out to bat, I was so tired. I think I was out about 4th ball. I think it was out. So I waited 11 hours.
But you were already tired.
I was tired.
Your concentration levels were very low.
Yeah.
You know,
11 hours watching of
it's
people
too much.
bat. Yeah,
it's too much.
Eventually, I got out.
And then Philip, unfortunately, may his soul rest in peace, passed on.
Yeah, I did.
You spoke at his funeral.
Yeah, Philip was a tremendous person. You know, we worked together a little bit. He joined me as a sports coach at the what they call East Cape Development Board in those days, and Department of Sport have changed to. And there was Mark, myself, and Philip. We were sort of like the three guys that.
Former EP boys.
Yeah, for all EP boys.
Yes.
You know, we went through a lot. You know, Kepler wasn't the easiest guy to play for. You know, he was a hard taskmaster, and we weren't used to it. You know,
Spartan way.
Yeah,
he was sort of a Spartan.
Yeah, no.
Everything was kind of my way and not your way.
Yeah, unfortunately, I got a story for everything. So there was a boxing tournament.
Yeah.
And we were just finished training at UPE or NMU now. And Kepler said to us, the three of us, why don't you guys come and have a beer with me at the boxing matches, you know?
Yeah.
So we said, no, that's cool. So we go up and we're watching this boxing, and none of us are really that interested in boxing, but we're there because Kepler wants to be there and, you know, support. So we watched this couple of bouts and that. We've had a few beers and, you know, but then boxing wasn't the main attraction. It was the booze and when I say having fun and
knockouts
and
everything.
Kepler. And next minute I look around and Kepler's gone. So I thought, jeepers, where's he gone? Yeah, he's gone home. Somebody says no, he's left. He went home. So I thought, okay. Anyway, so that evening I was driving. It was about 11 o'clock at night. Remember, there were no cell phones.
We're not talking about cell phones here.
No.
You
so
have
11
to
o'clock at
get
night.
a call from your landline at home.
11 o'clock at night. It's raining.
Yeah.
It's starting to rain. It's the wind's pumping on the beachfront, and he lived in one of those flats along the beachfront. And I'm driving along, and I had a little Beetle, and my windscreen wipers are going as fast as they can. And out of the corner of my eye, I like look, and there's Kepler running at 11 o'clock at night. So I thought, no way. So I slow down, I open a window, and I look, and it's him. So I get home, I go to sleep. I get up the next day, we go to practice. I said to him, Kepler, what the hell were you doing last night at 11 o'clock at night?
Yeah.
You probably had 3 or 4 beers, and you're running in the rain. It's cold.
Fitness
He said,
fanatic.
my wife's away, went back to Australia. I got home last night. I felt as guilty as anything that the season's arriving in a few weeks' time, and I'm here drinking beer, so I decided to run it out.
Wow.
So
What an athlete.
Now we're thinking, we all, myself and Mark and Philip are looking
Felt
at each other.
bad,
We felt bad.
Felt bad.
And that's how it was, you know. He led by example. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yes,
He led by example, you know. So we thought, okay, well, if he's doing it, then we must do it, you know.
He came with a lot of improvements for Eastern Province.
A massive amount of improvements, you know. Like nobody will. I don't think everybody. He had the right idea. He got the right guys, the talent around him. He had a formula.
Yes.
He needed 2 quick bowlers, and he needed a very good spin bowler, which was Tim Shaw. He needed a tall guy. He needed a wicket taker on the other side, which would be Larry Hobson every now and again at St. George's, and then myself to just back up
The
medium paces to hold up an end for a while. But the quicks had to do the damage up front, which they did. You know, they used to get 3-4 wickets up front. Tim Shaw used to frustrate the living daylights out of everybody in the middle. And then the quicks would freshen up, and then they would come back and knock 1 or 2 more. So he had a formula which worked for us, you know, and that was, but he led by example. I mean, he broke his hand against Sean Pollock here in a 4-day game, and a month later, I went to New Zealand on an SA tour. When I got back, the first game back was against New Zealand again. Against Natal again.
Yes.
And when I got back, I said, Kepler was at practice. And I said, Kepler, but your hand...
With a broken hand.
hand. You should be out for 6 weeks. I said, when was the pin taken out? He said, no, the pin was taken out this morning. So I said, but you can't play. He said, no, I'm playing.
Sure.
And that evening against Sean Pollock again at St. George's, he went out to play again. And I remember meeting him in the middle of the wicket and looking at his hand, and the palm of his hand was blood red with blood, you know, it was oozing. And I said, Kepler, it's red. He said, don't look at it, don't show anybody. I said, it must be sore. He said, no, it's not, I'm not, I'm okay. My adrenaline's flying here. He says, just keep batting. Oh, my eyes are going, you know, I thought I was tough, but I mean, that was like,
tough.
This is tough.
Very tough.
So, yeah, no, look, he taught us a lot. And as I said to you, he led by example.
There are quite a number of episodes in your life, twists and turns, one of which was when Hansi took over. And then there was this tour to India, but you're not part of that tour. And then Hansi's, you know, infamous kind of match fixing scandal. Yeah,
so it was a bit more than that, more than 1 or 2 tours. So I was dropped for the World Cup in '90. I think every World Cup, but I was dropped for the World Cup in '96, which I thought I had a very good chance of going to. I had cancer in '92
at 26.
So 26.
26 years, yes.
So '92, I missed the World Cup because of cancer.
Yes.
So I thought, and I'd played for those 3 or 4 years between that, and announced the 90, and then obviously just got that big score of 169.
169, yes.
And toured New Zealand. I didn't have a bad tour. I actually thought I did quite well there, with the limited opportunities at batting at 6. Come 96, World Cup side, and I get dropped again.
Sure.
So I never got another chance until Hansi in 2000 was removed from the team or withdrew from the team through match fixing. So, 5 years later, I got another opportunity to play for South Africa at a ripe old age of 36 or 37. But I had such a good season or a couple of seasons You know, just the sheer weight of runs. They had to pick me, you know.
Yeah.
So I was chosen to play again, and you know, I played against Australia in that series, and didn't do a hell of a lot because I wasn't required. I mean, it was a good side with with the younger generation of guys like Jacques Cullis and Mark Boucher and Graham Smith and Herschel Gibbs.
Dave Richardson was
David already
in the
retired.
mix,
No,
already retired.
yeah,
Was
he
you played
retired.
with him?
Yeah, David
for
and
Eastern
I played
Province,
for Eastern Province,
Eastern
and South
Province,
Africa,
yes,
yeah.
yeah.
So that was the next generation. So it was nice to play in the team with him. I mean, that was a really good side. I think they were a better side than the side that came, you know, earlier than that. It was a brilliant side. Yeah.
Then an opportunity again came, and it fell through. So unfortunate again. And then you were supposed to captain the guys
I'd carried
for
on
the World Cup 50s, over 50s.
Yeah, I'd carried on playing cricket for a long time. I mean, I only stopped in 2020, sorry.
Yeah.
And I'd been playing club cricket in Paarl when I was living there for 3 years. When I came back, I was about to give up, and then all my old club mates at Old Grey said to me, "Please, Dave, come on, man."
Yeah.
And I came back, and it was just such a nice bunch of guys, you know what I mean? And
Good fellows.
good fellows, and that's what you want to play sport with, you know,
Yes,
your friends and good guys. And I carried on playing. And then I got this phone call the one day. They said, "Listen, the World Cup over 50s is in South Africa.
Yeah.
Would I captain the team?"
Yes.
So I said, "Yeah, no, sure, no problem. I'd love to do that." And then it was a little bit different. There wasn't a league set up. So what we did was we had trials in all the regions. And the 50-year-old guys used to come and bowl balls and bat. But you must remember, when you get to 50, it's not so much the skill.
Yes.
It's the fitness of an individual that's going to make it, you know.
Yes.
And 6 months before that, I had a knee replacement.
Wow.
So I was like training quite hard to get back, get myself fit, and I said, "No, I will be fit," which was a bit of a risk, and it paid off. So we had a really good side. You know, the guys, Bradley Player, Alan Dawson, Louis Kuhn, Kloosner, he didn't play. He wasn't 50 yet.
Okay.
Jonty wasn't 50 yet.
Yes.
Rodney Malamba, Lefty, a guy, his name's Lefty from Border.
From Border, yes.
Flipping good player. He's still playing.
He's still playing?
He's still playing.
Amazing.
So we had this team, and we'd won all our games, and we were busy with the game against India, and they were in trouble. They weren't a very good side, and we were playing well. And I got a message on a piece of paper with about 30 overs. Callis, let's so-and-so bowl and so-and-so bowl. They haven't done much in the tournament so far. The tournament's been called off at lunchtime. Wow. What's
happening?
What's going on here? You know, like we sort of heard about COVID, but didn't know what, you know, the impact was going to be.
Yes.
So anyway, we played lunchtime. They called us in. We went in, and they said, "Guys, listen, we all have to go back to the hotel." So we went back to the hotel, and the captains went up for a meeting, and they said, "Guys, listen, we're calling the tournament off. Many of the countries are closing their borders." And excuse me. And we just feel that it's time that the guys give them time to get home, which they did. Unfortunately, a number of Sri Lankans didn't leave in time, so they were stuck in Cape Town for like months.
8 months.
Yeah, no, 8 months or something. So they must have had a ball. I wish I
away from home for 8 months.
Yeah, I wish I got stuck in Cape Town for 8 months. Yeah.
Now, Dave, I'm going to talk something very close to your heart, family. You know, before I ask you something else. Lee and your wife, you stopped working, you know, for various corporations and cricket. You did more or less everything. Now you are in association with your daughter and your wife.
Yeah, even when I was in the corporate world, my wife we had an embroidery business, and my daughter has a clothing supplier business, and she works in the same offices or the same premises from us.
Sort of a compound.
Yeah, and then she bought a company called Boxman and brought that in together. So we got a little sort of hub, if you want to call it that. And so it was quite a big move for me to move from the corporate world. Yeah,
from managing people.
No, excuse me. So,
sorry. To
sorry,
be managed.
No, look, you see what happens when you bring up working hard. Yeah. So it was. I always tell people I work with my wife and I work for my daughter. So
you work for your daughter.
Yeah.
You're working with your wife.
Yeah, with my wife.
That's the proper preposition.
Yeah. And I work for my daughter. Yeah. Now, look, we've got a nice thing.
Why do you say that?
Like, fortunately, because I have to say with my wife, because we live together and we do everything together. Or we play golf together. We do everything together. But my daughter gives me the most instructions.
Is it?
Yeah. So I have to.
Is she fiery?
No, she just knows what she wants.
She knows.
Yeah, no, she's
very strong.
No, very strong. I always say to the fiance.
You're so sweet.
Yeah, I always say to the fiance, I wouldn't marry my daughter. I'm really joking. No, she's going to kill me if she hears me. But no, she knows exactly what she wants. You know, she's late in life. She's taken up running.
She runs.
She
Marathons
runs.
or what?
Yeah, 21Ks.
Wow.
So
Two oceans?
The 21K, two oceans. She, about 2 years ago, it was not this year. She's had a bit of an injury this year, so it's been a little bit difficult for her. But last year she won the Knysna half in Knysna. On the weekend, for instance, she ran at the Discovery race down the way. She came second. So she trains really hard in the mornings. And then she comes into work, she does her stuff, and then she, like at the moment, I think she's at gym. And then she'll come into work, she'll put her hours in, and then in the evening she goes running again. You know, it's her little network of so she works really hard, and she was never a big sportsman. Like my son was, you know, first team cricket and played, you know, all of that when he was at Grey as well, and went to the EP Academy and stuff like that. My daughter was sort of played sport, but sort of in the background a little bit. And it's only just of the last few years that she's come up. She's come up and she's taken running as a. She just
it's in the family, you know. Yeah. And I know you love her buckets and buckets.
Yeah, no, she's brilliant.
Dave, you know, in life there's a beginning and also an exit. I'll put it that way, not an end, because you still have a long life with all your challenges, your ups and downs, your health issues and all that stuff. I believe you're going to be here for a long time to tell us these stories and also be part of this history, our history, rich history, you know, and that's so important for our grandchildren and our children to know about. How would you like people to think about you? How would you say, just say something about you? How would you like us to remember you?
Yes, New Zealand. Opening the innings, he carved the New Zealanders from all ends of the park.
Let's dance in style, let's dance for a while. Heaven can wait, we're only watching the skies. Hoping for the best, but expecting the worst. Are you gonna drop the bomb or not?
Lost an early wicket.
Let us die young or let us live forever. We don't have the power, but we never say never. Sitting in a sandpit, life is a short trip.
There were powerful drives, there were cuts, there were pulls. There was everything in this innings.
Turn our golden faces into the sun. Praising our leaders, getting in tune, the music's played.
Times, they all sailed out of the park. How about the placement?
I think the most for me, most important thing in life is respect. So we all come from different backgrounds and we believe in different things, and so I think I was talking to somebody the other day, and I said, you know, the most important thing in the world today is to appreciate and to respect others. You know what I mean? And I think that's something for me where, you know, I would like to be remembered as somebody that was caring, somebody that enjoyed people, who gave a lot of people entertainment when I did obviously play cricket, and that's gone on now. You know, that's for me we can all go and say we want to be remembered for the amount of runs that we scored, and for me that doesn't really count.
That's secondary.
That's secondary now.
Respect begets respect.
Exactly right. And you know, you want to be remembered as, I like to treat people the way I like to be treated, you know what I mean? So if, you know, that's the way it is, you know. And I think if I go, when I do go one day, you know, I want to, Callis was a good guy, you know what I mean? He was a nice guy. He achieved, but he was a nice guy, you know.
Yes.
And I think that's the way I'd like to finish off with.
An incredible human being.
Thanks.
Dave John Callaghan.
Thanks.
You know, thank you for coming. And
Thank you
then
very much.
to the Legends Kraal. We do this,
we
want to see your signature, that you can turn around and take some pictures, and then so that you can come around this way, can come around. Oh, yeah, you're fine there.
Okay.
You're fine there. So that you can sign that you're the first one to sign that bat. That's a bat of fame, you know. That signature will go to the archives. It will stay there for a long, long time. And thank you again. You can sign the flag. The flag is a shield, you know, that we have in our country. It protects us, and also we swear by it, or make an oath, you know, to say that you swear by the flag of our country, which is very significant and very important. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Buti. Enkosi kakhulu.
Enkosi kakhulu. Thank you, man.
Thank you. That was it with Dave Callaghan.